Am I even live right now? This thing is loading like this thing isn't even. I'm trying to figure out what's going on right now. So let me know in chat if you can see what's going on here. I'm very confused. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right. So apparently I'm live. Okay, cool. Yes. Stream health, everything's good. What's up? How's it going? Welcome to the FPL bench boost stream. I will be bench boosting, as some of you may know. What is my password? Let's see if I can remember it. All right. So I have some decisions to make. Let me know if you're bench boosting as well and what your thoughts are with your own teams. I will hopefully be making my transfer decisions on stream today. I will wait until probably the last second tomorrow to confirm them. However, the only reason I would do that is simply because we don't really know what's going to happen, and I don't think the price rises will really impact me. Let me go ahead and pull up fplstatistics.co.uk right now and see if I can get the live stream going. Okay, cool. Oh, you want to see the poster? Hold on. I gotta make sure it's in shot. The main poster is just a general poster. It's got like a lighthouse on it, of course. So Antonio's price, De Bruyne, Mitchell, I have Stones may go up. Forster may go up. None of these people bother me. I either already have them or I'm not going to bring them in. Some interesting price drops. There's going to be a lot tonight, most likely. We're looking at a bunch of players that I may be interested in the future, and for a lot of people, these are future plan type of people, where Grealish especially, but we also have Son, Zaha. I'm not even going to mention Ward-Prowse because, he shouldn't be in any teams. Willy Bolly, Vestergaard, Webster. Some decent players that could be options at some point I'll drop tonight. A decent amount there. If all those drop, it's going to be a lot. Wow. There haven't been many price changes over the last couple of days, but a lot of price drops today and some going up. But I already have them. Doesn't really bother me too much. How are you, Harveen? How's it going, Nasty Balls? Sultan, how's it going? So to start the stream, I will discuss, a lot of people are considering who to get rid of this week, and a lot of people are looking to get rid of Son and Kane. And this is really going to be a tough decision, because how do we look at this fixture and decide to sell them ahead of Sheffield United? I know that 2 fixtures is better than 1 in a lot of cases. So for me, for example, a simple transfer to make would be Kane to Son. Not Kane to Son, Kane to Vardy. And one reason I would make this transfer is also because Kane plays Liverpool next week. So that's not ideal. So I just have to value how much the Vardy's 2 fixtures are worth compared to Kane just playing Sheffield United. And is Vardy going to reliably start both games? Do we know that for sure? Maybe not. Right now, I'm simply looking at getting rid of Tierney. Now, I have a lot of ideas. Let's pull up, as usual, what is the name of the site? Understat. So understat.com. Again, that's understat.com, because a lot of people want to know, what is that site you use on stream? It is understat.com, and it is very helpful. I use it all the time after I watch the game weeks, and that's why I'll be using it again today to try to help us evaluate these players here. And I will start off by just looking at Tottenham's last game, because I was surprised. Where's it at? Fulham had 3 expected goals. That's a lot for them recently. I was very surprised with the way that Son has been finishing recently, finishing his chances. I was amazed that he did not score in that game. It was really surprising. But the luck is going to balance out eventually, I suppose. Maybe he's just not like the best finisher in the world. Obviously, he's still a good finisher, and he will outperform his expected goals pretty much all the time, I would say. I think Son's great. Like, Son is way better than Rashford, in my opinion. But so Sultan asks that he's looking to bench boost this week. Balbuena and Taylor and Adams to Dawson, Stones, and Antonio for the -8. So I've seen a lot of like -8, -4 questions. Let me see. Yeah, I would probably get rid of Balbuena and probably Taylor as well. And Adams. I mean, all those players I like getting rid of. I would probably try to find somebody that's more long-term than Dawson. Do you already have Soufal? I assume so. Or maybe you just can't quite afford him. But I do love those players you're bringing in. You know, even though that's a -8, and that generally would put me off. Like, oh, it's hard to be convinced to say yes to it. But in this case, I got to say that I think that looks pretty good. And I can't go against that. Because I think Stones and Antonio, you could make the argument that they're good long term as well. So I think you could be getting some good value there. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to bench boost and like if you don't want to have to deal with it later, I think that could be okay. Now a -8, are you really going to gain that many points from it? I'm not sure right away, but you would think you have a chance to, right? I think the way it could go wrong is if Dawson doesn't start both games, and maybe the same with Antonio. I mean, and who knows with Stones? I guess that could happen as well. I don't see it happening. I love the Cancelo, Stones, and De Bruyne Man City triple up, by the way. I think that's the way to go, and I have those three. It's just too good. Cancelo, he's got to get like a double-digit haul soon, right? Like, I feel like it's been coming for so long. He's yet to get one this season. He's only got 1 assist somehow, no goals. I feel like that's going to change at some point. You know, is there any? There may be still some doubt about this Aston Villa game going ahead. I mean, I don't really know for sure. I would assume it's going to be played Man City versus Aston Villa, but really, Cancelo could almost be a captaincy option. I mean, the rumors are, well, Pep said that De Bruyne was tired, like really tired after the last game. People may be looking into that too much. I still think he starts both games. I don't know if it's enough to put me off captaining him. But let's get back to the Tottenham-Fulham game. So let's see what was Son's expected goals. I can look at the actual chances he had. He had 1.5 expected goals, 4 shots, very good. Kane's expected goals was very high as well, 0.83, with some decent expected assists as well. And this is just what you get from Son and Kane. I'm not sure the one reason I wouldn't sell that is because I may be able to make a transfer elsewhere that would also help me long term. And I'm not sure getting rid of Kane from a long term perspective is beneficial. We do have some decent matchups here with these bad matchups. I think it could go either way on this one, like Kane Navardi or Kane downgrade. One thing that I really need to consider is Salah ideas, because I do want Salah back, and really, I think if I transferred in Salah this week, I may actually captain him. I know De Bruyne's got great options. I can't decide yet. You know, I think maybe if I would captain him, then maybe I would bring him in. I'm not so sure. I also may just not bring him in. So I'm really like, I can't decide whether to captain him or to not bring him in at all. The argument against Salah would be, I mean, these fixtures are really not that good. Manchester United have been defending reasonably well. And Burnley, you know, I said last game that Burnley don't defend well against like the very top teams, but they did a pretty good job against, who was it, Manchester United. I'll pull that game up as well. Let's see how good they actually did. I know Martial should have scored. The scoreline should have looked worse. And it sucks because I had Martial. So they barely underperformed their expected goals according to this. And, you know, Liverpool have had some games where they've sort of underperformed in terms of their creativity. So maybe it's not the worst week to go without Salah. It's just really hard for me to go without him. I mean, the guy consistently scores so many goals. Him in a double game week, 2 home matchups, maybe that doesn't matter as much now. But these are the kind of games he can score in for sure. He's blanked recently. His last 3 blanks. Some of them have been unlucky. Like I feel like he underperformed his expected goals. It's just tough to go without him. Let me get back to the chat though. So Thomas says he's taking -4 in bench boost this week. Tierney and Neto to Chilwell and Souček. I think that those are safe transfers. Because, Souček and Chilwell surely play 90 minutes each game, and Neto doesn't have the double game week. Neither does Tierney, and Tierney's got some injury problems, so I'm looking at getting rid of him myself. But yeah, I like the Souček this week. My first week with him playing at least. Yeah, not having Salah is going to be tough. Who knows? Maybe it would just be such a big move for me to do. Like, realistically, Rashford would be the one out. I'm not too interested in him long term. I do love these fixtures, though. Like, do I really get rid of a guy before a double game week, including Fulham and then Sheffield United? I don't love him. I think 9.6, you can get much better value this season, including Son. Obviously, Son doesn't have the double game week. But Rashford will go at some point, I think. But Rashford to Salah, so one thing I've thought of, let's say I don't get Salah for the double game week. Tierney out this week. Who would I go down to? I looked at this earlier. Tierney, just to get some money, I would downgrade him. I forgot who I exactly was looking at. Maybe it's not that much of a downgrade after all. There's Reece James. Reece James is somebody I considered. The fixtures are pretty good. Double game week, Wolves, Burnley. It's not bad. Longer term, they're fine. Target is the guy I looked at. Now, I don't know what the deal is with Aston Villa completely, but if I could get somebody at that price point, then I could, But let's see with Reece James. So then I got -2.3 to fit Salah in, and the way to do that would probably be Martial to Bamford in the future. So I think like moves like this would be. I can't quite fit Bamford in, so I would have to get 0.2 from somewhere else, and that would probably be here. Just going with a pretty cheap defense. Bednarek, I can't get him in this week. I need somebody with a double game week. I would like to get an extra double game week. I'm not too interested in doing something like Rashford down or Rashford to Salah and like a Kane downgrade. Like, I don't think for this week that's necessarily beneficial. It all just depends on how good Salah does, I suppose, and it's so hard to go without him because he's such a great captaincy option. But Rashford, surely he's not that bad, right? He can't be that bad. Fulham just gave up a lot of chances to Tottenham. We saw that expected goals. And Areola did well, by the way, the goalkeeper I brought in. Got 3 points. Was one save off of it having 4 points. But yeah, so Tierney out, I think, is the safe way to go. I think he's most likely going to start still. But with a bench boost, I want to make sure they all play. And, after this, they play Southampton. That's okay without Ings. Ings should be back by then, I would suggest, actually. So I take that back. So Southampton, Manchester United, Wolves, Aston Villa. Those aren't necessarily amazing matchups. So maybe getting rid of Tierney now, despite his goal threat, would make sense. Not exactly sure who I would get, though. And this is the thing keeping me off of that move. Like, that Reece James thing I just did, that would be nice if I could afford Bamford. I can't quite do it yet, though. If I threw an extra transfer of Kane to Vardy in there, then I could afford it. So if I did these moves, this is over kind of a long period of time now. I don't necessarily like relying on this. So I could do these moves, bringing in James, Salah, Vardy, and Bamford, and getting rid of Martial, Kane, Rashford, and Tierney. I like the look of that. I could almost take a -4 this week, bringing in James and Vardy in, or maybe just one of the two. That would be the decision. I wouldn't make those all this week, though. Martial is a potential injury risk, but I think I'm just going to take the chance with him. Regardless, he should get the Fulham game, so I'm fine with it, I guess. You already have Soufal Sultan. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Dawson's such a risk, man. I just don't know. I think he'll be good. He should be fine. I don't want to say he's a risk, because from what I've heard, Balbuena's still self-isolating. I think he's got COVID, and they just don't want to say he's got COVID. I think that's the case, but that's just speculation. Why would he? I think he hasn't. He's been self-isolating for a while, right? Like, it's a little too long. They would know by now if he has COVID, and if he didn't have COVID, my personal opinion is he'd be back training. So apparently, I think it's a chance he's got COVID, but of course, that's just speculation. So who knows what's going on with Balbuena there? But that would mean Dawson starts if he does. Your team, you have Fabianski. So I don't know anything about Fabianski. I really have no clue. Suffolk and Cello Region. I think it looks good. I hope El Ghazi plays for you. Like I said, I really like El Ghazi. I mentioned that in the last couple of streams. I wish I could have wildcarded him in, but of course with the whole Villa thing, yeah. I mean, I like the team. Hopefully El Ghazi and Grealish work out for you. It's kind of a unintended risk that you were handed there. And hopefully Antonio does well. But I think the team's fine. I mean, one transfer you could make is like a Fabianski out type of move, but he's got such good fixtures, I wouldn't recommend it. One thing I would consider, I mean, obviously there's Kane Navardi, and Reguilon out because they don't have the double game weeks. I don't know if you're bench boosting or not. It looks like a decent bench boost team. I think you could. Souček. So I have Souček, but I think as far as West Ham goes, their only attackers you can consider are Antonio and Souček. And then they have plenty of, a number of good defenders that I would consider. Yeah, the Bruno captain blank was, I don't know how I feel about it. Let's actually go and check the Manchester United game. What was his expected goals and expected assists? I felt like it was very low. It surprised me by how little he did. I talked a lot about how I don't trust Man City to score a lot of goals, and, well, they only won 1-0. Could have scored more, of course. And the same thing happened with Manchester United, unfortunately, where they just didn't score enough. They did sub Bruno off. No, they didn't. Yeah, they did. I'm confused. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. I thought I saw that. Yeah, they subbed him off very late. Let's check out what Mr. Bruno did. So Bruno actually, okay, I mean, expected goal involvement when you combine the expected goals and assists is like 0.24. So, I mean, there's something, but it's not really much. Let's see. Oh, he took a shot from out here, didn't he? Yeah, he took both of these, actually. He took two really long shots from almost 30 yards out. And so three of his shots were from way outside the box. And then he had this one, which was his, I believe this was the volley. Yeah, it was like a half volley or something like that. And decent connection. Those are the kind that, like against the Leeds game, when he just struck it right between Ayling's legs, they've just been flying in for him this season. So I wouldn't have been surprised if he happened to score that. But he didn't. And De Bruyne obviously could have had much more. So I should have captained De Bruyne, but it wasn't too bad. He did more than he did in the Leeds game, I think, when he blanked that time. What was I going to look at? Oh, yeah. Marcus Rashford. Absolutely zero shots for Rashford. It was pretty bad. How he got 6 points, I mean, I know how because I watched the game, but geez, he did not, in terms of the positions compared to Martial, he did not. I was like, oh, well, Rashford is not getting points this game. But Martial should get something. Meanwhile, Martial, 5 shots, good expected goals, nothing. Man, I was that's just unfortunate. But I'm quite happy to own them for this week. I think, against Liverpool, they could score. They could score one or two. Two away matchups, though. I don't think they'll set the world on fire. I never trust Rashford to do anything. He's in my team. I don't think it's necessarily worth a transfer out. I really don't. Hey, Adam, how's it going? You're looking at Calvert-Lewin and Justin, Dallas. Okay, wait. Okay, Justin / Dallas. I would probably keep Justin just because of the double game week. Yeah, I mean, Leicester are still Leicester. We don't know exactly how they're going to perform. They haven't been amazing recently. But Southampton and Chelsea. Southampton, we don't know whether they'll have Ings. A lot of people say they won't. I'm not so sure. I think Ings may make an appearance. I think that he will be ruled out because of match fitness. That's what they were saying on Fantasy Football Scout earlier. He like when they made the announcement that Ings had COVID, he had already had it for like the past 10 days, and he'd been like self-isolating. So I think at this stage he may get like a negative test, and then he may come back into the squad. The reason I say this is because that really makes Justin look like a better option if he's only coming off the bench or maybe not playing at all. So yeah, I would definitely keep Justin for now. Double game week is just too important, especially with these cheap defenders. Yeah, I'll try to keep Rashford for that long, Thomas. That was my idea when I brought him in. That's for sure. You know, he's not bad so far this season. The last couple of games haven't been bad. Like his expected goals and his threat throughout these last couple of weeks haven't been bad. But against Burnley, it was just so much worse. I want to give him another go. I really do. But Salah in also seems amazing. I think there's just so many good options this week. We could talk about all these possibilities for a long time. And that's one reason I want to simply get rid of my worst players like Tierney. He's actually a good FPL option, but I don't want to risk him not playing. And again, I'll have to wait to make that transfer for sure. But Tierney out is probably the safe way to go. And he has a single game week, so I feel like it's kind of making my decision for me. I wouldn't really want to... I don't know, man. I guess I'm just too scared of selling Rashford right before a big haul, which is definitely possible with Rashford. Sure, James. I guess I'll pull up your team. Hold on. So Jake asks, what do you think of Son, Kyle Peters, Brewster, and Steer? Another huge transfer, minus 12. Mindy, Cancelo, Suchek, and Antonio in. So Mindy, no. Mindy's a no for me. Wait. Yeah, Mindy's a no for me. Oh, wait, no. Hold on, sorry. I was thinking Benjamin Mendy. I was like, what's wrong? Okay, never mind. Mindy, Cancelo, Suchek, and Antonio. Again, minus 12, it doesn't sound right to be saying this, but I think that's a solid move. I mean, Sun out, obviously, that's not guaranteed to be good, but all the players you're bringing in, I really like them. Obviously, I have 3 of the 4, so I brought him on a wild card, so I can't go against that necessarily. Mindy, I probably personally wouldn't spend that much on goalkeeper, but I know why you're bringing him in. Obviously, they've been very good defensively this season. Harveen, I've considered Rashford captaincy, but I would never do it, I don't think, because the only reason he would do it is, or the only reason I would do that is by default, simply because So let me know if you are. Let me know if I am back. That is the question. I think I may be back. Hold on. Let me know if I am back. I'm just gonna wait for chat. Okay. Wow, that was interesting. So what happened was I unplugged this thing right here, but I heard a noise on the computer that was like oh, you need to update or something. So I thought that because that happened, that's why I was muted, but it wasn't. It was like when I went to pick up the microphone. Anyway. Wow. How is there still 15 people here? How did y'all not just like... Because that went on for a while. Like, I was scrolled up in chat, and I didn't even, okay, wow. That was a lot. Oh, my gosh. Okay, now I got to go back. So I said, you know what, first of all, let me go ahead and pull up James's team. He may not even be here anymore, but I'm going to pull up James's team. Let's go to points, and I'm going to pull up his team. And then I'll recap whatever I was just talking about. I think I was talking about tyranny. Yeah. So tyranny question. Wow, that was something else right there. So okay. So Jake, I said I think I would do that. I think that makes sense. Pratik is like having a big dilemma at the moment. I'm looking to take out Calvert-Lewin and Son for a hit for Brewster and KDB. I would. Oh, so basically, you want to know whether to get rid of Son or Kane, because I like the move in general. I think I would rather. Oh wow. So, but you also got Calvert-Lewin in there, and then you also have what's his name? Oh, so you played your free hit. Let me go back to his actual team. I think I would probably go. Let me think about this. Wow, I prefer Kane over Son personally, but I prefer. But I kind of want Calvert-Lewin over Rafinha. I think Calvert-Lewin's bad value, though. I think Son could be better value than Kane. Like, this is all over the place. I would probably go with the I think I'd go with the Kane and Rafinha maybe. No, I'd say Calvert-Lewin and Son. I'd say keep Kane. So okay, let me get back to what I answered before all that. Okay, so I'm back. Yeah. Arvine, that's exactly right. So I was talking about, I personally could never captain Rashford just because I don't trust him enough. But also I think they're better captaincy options with De Bruyne or Salah. You probably have one of those that you could go over him. If not, then maybe. But no, I'm drinking water. It's just in a thing. It should be tea, I guess. Tierney out for Chilwell. If you can afford that, I think Chilwell makes sense. So I was talking about Tierney out. I think that's what I was talking about that whole time. So let's go back to this. So you're already on a -4. It's all Ignis's fault. You're already on a -4. The question is, should I get Chilwell/James in for Tierney? Okay, so one thing I said is that, anyway, talking about Tierney. If you're bench boosting, it would make me want to do that even more just to make sure that Tierney plays. You're probably going to want to wait to the last second to make this transfer, like right before the deadline. Not too close, obviously. Don't risk it. But because we just have to hope that we get Tierney news. I'm sort of in the same boat. But if you want the Chelsea guys long-term, like for the fixtures I mentioned earlier, where Arsenal don't necessarily have these good fixtures, right? So Manchester United should score. Wolves with Neto looking better. I think they score against Chelsea. Arsenal, to be honest. Arsenal had defended well. So I guess it just depends on how much you trust them defensively. But even Villa and Leeds, and then obviously we get into poor fixtures here. So I could see a lot of these teams scoring against Arsenal. That's one reason I am leaning towards getting rid of Tierney, because it also suits me long term while I'm also getting rid of a single game week player. So again, if you would bring in James or Chilwell or whoever it may be, I think James is pretty much going to start, by the way. Slight risk there for the double game week, but I think he's likely to start both. I mean, there's always some rotation risk with him. I will say, though, that I think it makes sense if you're going to play them instead of the Arsenal guys in these fixtures. Getting rid of Tierney for a hit could be the way to go. Obviously, it could turn out very poorly over the next 2 weeks because Arsenal do have decent fixtures. So, short term, it could be a bit risky, but in a way, it's also safe because you know that they're going to play. So, yeah, it's all your fault, Ignis. Your question used up words to answer, and I wasn't focused on chat yelling at me the whole time. So game week 19, Calvert-Lewin to Antonio and Son to KDB for a -4. Again, I like it. Most of these -4s and other weeks I would say no, but you're getting the two game week advantage here. Again, I would probably wait. Let's see if we can get something out of Antonio, simply because Moyes didn't say anything about Antonio. All the journalists were like, no, we're not even going to talk about Antonio. I think, I was watching the Fantasy Football Scout team news thing earlier today, which I think was helpful for me. And I agree with what one of them said and they said that they've been talking about this West Ham striker a lot, this young guy that I don't even know his name. Moyes has, acting as if he's an option to play. Considering they just sold Haller, I think that they're simply using this as a tactic to, when they do try to sign another striker, they're going to be like, oh no, this isn't out of desperation. See, we have all these striker options here, when in reality, they just have Antonio. So I think they're talking about this young striker as if he's an actual option, just so they can simply not pay like a premium on all these players. But yeah. So game week 20, Kane and Vardy to Justin Cancelo -4. Maybe not game week 20. Vardy in. Who does Vardy play? I'm not sure. Game week 20. Oh, they play Leicester. I think they play Everton. I think that's fair enough. I mean, getting rid of Kane soon is going to be one of the tough questions I'm never going to have a straight answer for, I feel like, because his fixtures alternate back and forth and all that good stuff. But anyway, let's take a look at this guy's team. I've had it up long enough just staring at it. So let's see. What was your question exactly? Let's see. Anyway, so let me see if I can find it actually. Fuck. Okay. Any suggestions? Oh yeah, so if you're going to remove Kilman, I think that makes sense. Wait. What do you... Oh my gosh, I am so all over the place. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I think getting rid of Kilman makes sense. I've said that to somebody else, like, you could probably get somebody a little bit more expensive, even if it's just Lowton. That improves your team, and it gives you a double game week player if you're looking to make a transfer like that low down on the totem pole. Wow, you're sort of unlucky here with all 3 Southampton, 3 Leeds. There is some speculation that the game will be, they will all of a sudden have their double game week back. I don't believe it. I'll say that right now. I don't think they will, but it could happen, I suppose. Just because Hasenhüttl said, oh, it's possible. Like, I'm still training my players just in case. But I don't think they'll have it back. So you're stuck with a lot of single game week players here. So the bench boost is off the cards. I think you may even get rid of Rafinha and bring in Souček. I think that could be a good move. You have 2 West Ham already. I quite like that. So I think that would be one option. I quite like Souček this week. As much as you can like Souček. You never, I don't know. I guess a lot of people love him, but I personally can't love him too much. So Rafinha to Foden. Again, Rafinha out seems like it makes sense at this point. I feel like his hype train has died down and people have realized that he just occasionally takes a long shot. No, he's not a terrible option, but Bamford's always going to be the one that hogs all the goals. And arguably Harrison's better anyway, but Harrison's better than Rafinha, maybe. So Foden, I think I would still try to get Cancelo and Stones instead of Foden, and then with De Bruyne. Obviously, your team may not be easy to set up like that, but I think Foden's actually a decent option. He's been playing well recently, and I think he'll be able to hold his place. I think the most important thing that Pep, when he decides who he's going to play, is who's been playing well recently. I know that's pretty basic, but we see that a lot of times with Mahrez, where he just loses trust, and then even when he's like benched one game, he's just going to get benched again because Pep doesn't want to play him. And I think Foden will start a lot of the games now, but it's hard to tell. Foden's always a risk with playing time, and I generally don't play those risks. I would say try to get Cancelo or Stones and De Bruyne. Foden's one of those guys that long term, there's probably going to be a point where you're going to have to get rid of him. And that's not guaranteed to be the case with like Cancelo and Stones. We could just be able to keep them for a long time. That's one reason I got them. Obviously, I wildcarded so early with my second wildcard. These are guys I could potentially just keep, forever until they interfere with a blank game week strategy or something like that. So yeah, I quite like them, and that's the answer for that. I don't trust any Chelsea attackers necessarily. Giroud and Abraham, if they started consistently, would change everything, but they don't. Werner is just a solid no. Costs way too much. Pulisic is the one that interests me the most. Maybe Mount just because of his price, but in general, I don't trust the Chelsea guys. I just don't see a reason why I should. And with all these great options out here right now, I don't think it's worth it. So back to discussing what I'll do with Tierney. Let me just look at the simplest transfers I can make. And I'm always struck with this debate, right? Because a lot of people ask me, like on Twitter or like right now, whatever the case may be, should I do, like, let's say Kane to Vardy and to Tierney, and Tierney to some other double game week player. That's solid. Tierney to who even is at this price? Let's say James. Tierney to James and Kane to Vardy, right? You could do that because it's downgrade. You don't even need any money to do that. And I would be like, yeah, that sounds good, sure. And I'm assuming they have their own good reasons for doing that, but it's like, would I even do that myself? Like, it seems like a pretty simple move, right? You're getting rid of 2 single game week players, getting 2 quality double game week players. You're getting Vardy in and getting a Chelsea defender in. Better long-term fixtures than Tierney. Can we trust Reece James to start? I think that's a big question. I've looked at Justin. Obviously, I had him. I brought him in first wild card. Just got rid of him on this wild card. I like when he gets forward, but I feel like when they play a back four, it's just not the same with him. And Leicester haven't been defending as well recently. He's still, if you have him, I think he's a definite solid option, though. I mean, these fixtures are good, and that's why I would look at him. Double game week, Everton leads Fulham. I quite like him, but I don't know if it's worth a transfer in. And I say that all the time, I know. Reece James, though, let's see how much he's been rotated when he's healthy. Obviously, this game early on, but I feel like he's gained more trust since then. This game here and then injuries, I feel like he's pretty nailed on. They don't really have Azpilicueta to take his place, in my opinion, because he's just too old nowadays. Fulham and Leicester. Leicester will probably score. Fulham, obviously that's just a great matchup. And longer term, their matchups are pretty good as well. They don't have any games in hand. That's one thing I need to start looking at more. Like that would be one advantage of taking the risk on target, is that they have, how many games in hand do they have? 2? That's nice. That's one reason I got Areola, actually. If you're looking for a keeper longer term, Areola has two games in hand. I know it's the Fulham keeper, so what can you really expect? But yeah, Aston Villa, maybe I take the risk on target. So I think that's one of my decisions right now, target or Reece James. Or maybe I just keep Tierney, but I don't think I can. I mean, they said he's going to get a scan. I think he's going to be fine. I think it's most likely that he's going to be fine, and they do really need him. But just because they really need a player, I'm not convinced that they could interpret that either way. They could take that as, we need to play him so we win, or, we need to save him so we know he's available longer term. So I guess it just depends on how you think that looks. Vardy has a good record against Southampton. I don't look into those things too much. The main reason for that is teams change. So just because somebody scored against somebody 3 years ago makes no difference. Some people love that, and I'm just like, okay, have fun with that. I really think it means nothing unless it's like, the same team, same coach, and they did well. I think that makes perfect sense to look at that. But once you get like major team changes, I think it's pointless. It's more about the tactical side of it, really, like, oh, in this team they played these tactics and this guy did well, and if you think those tactics are going to be replicated, then you would have a good reason to say, okay, Vardy would do well in this situation. And Southampton have held that high line that Vardy does well against a lot this season. But I feel like they've corrected that ever since that Tottenham game and like the game after that. They've sort of corrected their huge mistakes there. But I think these matchups are nice. Man, and I love Vardy, but I also like Kane, so. But so let's see how Kane to Vardy and Tierney to oh man. Can't I just get 4 West Ham players? If I could just transfer in Chilwell, it would just be so easy. But I can't. Cresswell to anybody I can trust. Is there anybody I can trust? I'm just going to keep scrolling until I see somebody with a double game week that I can trust. Just bring in David Luiz. That would be funny. Reguilon, single game week. Digne, single game week. I wouldn't bring him in anyway, would I? Luke Shaw, but I already have 3 Manchester United. I wish I could get 4. I would get Ruben Diaz if I could. That would be an interesting one. De Bruyne to Salah and Tierney to Ruben Diaz. I don't know if I can afford that, though. Vardy. Well, it's time to look at Vardy's stats. I have to seriously consider him an option. It's still going to be hard to get rid of Kane, right? Like, even if I see something amazing here. I don't know, man. Kane ahead of Sheffield United. What did Sheffield United do last week? Gave up 1 expected goals in Newcastle. That's improvement, right? It's improvement from what they've been doing recently. Let's do what I usually do, and let's look at over the past month statistics for teams. So expected goals against for Sheffield United. Well, they are, better than a lot of teams. That's not terrible. They're close to Burnley. They're doing much better than Leeds and West Brom. Leeds and West Brom only played 6 games. Their expected goals against, they just kill everybody pretty much. So yeah, Leeds and West Brom looking like amazing options. And he plays Leeds game week 21. I think it's a good matchup for him. What has Vardy done recently? I think he's got a good chance of playing 90 minutes in both games in the double game week because he's had a lot of rest recently. I'm just hoping, though, he has the injury, which puts me down a little bit. Kane's just been so reliable. Like, Kane is the ultimate long-term hold for me. At the end of the day, if Kane's in my team, I'm never going to be too upset. He's probably not going to get hurt. He's going to be on penalties no matter what. He's not going to be subbed off. He's not going to be rotated. He's on a more reliable team than Leicester. Getting rid of Kane is a lot. It really is. And I know the fixtures aren't amazing, but Chelsea? I don't know. Brighton, West Brom mixed in there. I don't know if I can sell him. But I'll continue looking on with Mr. Vardy. Expected goals over the past month. Leicester beating Spurs. Wait, where are Spurs? Oh, no, they aren't. Tottenham are beating Leicester. I'm used to a lot of sites just listing Spurs instead of Tottenham for some reason. So Tottenham are beating Leicester by a decent amount, actually, which is surprising, I would say. I guess Leicester haven't been that great. Expected goals per 90 minutes. Let's go Tottenham and let's go Leicester. Leicester and Tottenham. I would expect Vardy to be up there. Yeah, so expected goals per 90 minutes. Let's do past month as well. Over the course of the season, Vardy beats Kane by a lot, by the way. So past month. And over the past month, they've had exactly the same expected goals per 90 minutes. which is always nice. And Vardy barely beats him in expected assists. Kane has more goals. Vardy's played less minutes though, so I should probably stick to the 90-minute statistics. Considering this, who does Vardy play? Vardy plays Southampton and Chelsea. How well have they been defending recently? Chelsea are not. Wait, sorry. Yeah, Chelsea aren't all the way up there. Chelsea are a little worse than Wolves, I would say, based on the fact they have a game in hand. Chelsea are kind of bad recently in terms of expected goals conceded. And then there's also Southampton, who have actually been really good. Wow. Wait, when did that happen? Southampton defended pretty well. That's surprising. It has been sort of hard to predict Vardy this year, I would say. So that always factors in because a lot of his points have came from, I don't want to say random, but it is kind of just random penalties. Let's go to Mr. Vardy. Jamie Vardy. And they rank him, 6th in threat, 8th in creativity. So maybe Southampton isn't an amazing matchup. What did Southampton do this week? They had a game, right? No, they didn't. They didn't play. Last game was against Liverpool when they won 1-0. Didn't give up that many expected goals either. Wow. And then, I may have to just stick with Kane here. It's still Chelsea and it's Southampton who have been defending well recently. Oh, man, that sucks. It's more exciting to have the double game week player. And then we go into Liverpool. So is the 2 games worth more than the 1? I guess that's the question. Sheffield United improved a little bit recently. Let's see. Sheffield United. Who scored against them? Oh, yeah, that's right. They were in that game with a red card. That doesn't count. They got a red card. Newcastle got a red card. They're bolstering their stats over here. This is understat.com. I'll type it in chat here. Yeah. So other option, Adams considering -8 to bench boost Areola, Mendy, Adams, Justin, -12 for Mendy to Souček, but I don't think it's worth it at that point. Yeah, I don't know about doing an extra hit to make sure you get Souček in. He's just not that high caliber of a player, I would say. But I also wouldn't want to get the Leicester midfielder Mendy in. So I don't know. I think DCL Dallas to Antonio Stones, no bench boost makes the most sense. I like that. Antonio and Stones should be great options. Reguilon or Dallas, I would say Reguilon. Just because Sheffield United should be a great matchup. And he's probably got better attacking threat. But that's debatable at this point. Yeah, Kane is it doesn't feel right to do Kane to Vardy. There's something there that's preventing me from doing that. And I think it is because Vardy just isn't as trustworthy. You don't really know what you're going to get. With Kane, I know what I'm going to get. It isn't always perfect, right? Tottenham don't always create the most chances for him. But I know I get 90 minutes every week and no rotation. So those things are very nice. Those things are some of the nicest things that we want. So I kind of agree with you, Thomas. He has been rotated, and the injury isn't considering we're talking about Kane here. You really have to convince me, Vardy, and I'm just not quite getting it. And he's also not on the same high caliber team, so I think I like keeping the one Tottenham player. I think I like it. Which scores more points? Vardy's son Cresswell versus Antonio KDB Robertson. Oh yeah. Not being able to get KDB, that's kind of how I am with Salah, because I want him. Vardy's son Cresswell versus Antonio KDB Robertson. Wow. That's actually tough. I don't think that. I think Cresswell's a great option. It sucks to get rid of him with this double game week or to not have him, whatever the situation is. So Antonio and Vardy kind of in the same boat where they may not play, but they should. Son. Son had some great chances last game. I don't know if that's good or bad for him, the fact that he missed or the fact that he had them. I think that's pretty even. To be honest, I think I would probably go with the Vardy Son Cresswell just because it's not a -4. I don't know if you already made a transfer, what the situation is, but I would look to, I don't know, maybe just get another Man City defender in. That's kind of my default answer for anything. Like if you don't want to do anything too severe and like take a -4 with all these transfers, like if you only have one of Stones or Cancelo, bring the other one in. Or if you can't get De Bruyne, maybe even bring a third in. Like they're just, I don't know, they're just so good, especially Cancelo. I know he's 5.8, but just look at these. These fixtures are amazing. A double game week and then 3 great fixtures after that. I'm sure it'll go wrong somehow, but it just looks too good to be true right now. And maybe another way I get some money is Martial out. So Martial, and the thing is, I sort of want to just wait because I want to really just do Martial at Bamford. But this week it doesn't make sense because of the double and single game week thing. So if I brought anybody else in, it would really just be them to Bamford pretty soon after that anyway. So that's why I'm sort of waiting, and I just hope Martial's fine. He should be fine enough to play. Hopefully start both. I think he should. But regardless, the issue with getting rid of Martial is, like, besides the fact that I want to get Bamford in the future, is that I don't know who I would bring in for him at that price point. The way to go would really be to Vardy. Let's see. So I have 9 million in the bank. I would just have to get 1 million from elsewhere, and that could be something as simple as doing Tierney to. Oh, I'm 0.1 off. I'm 0.1 off of simply going to Lowton. 0.1 off. There's no good defenders cheaper than 4.4, is there? I know there's 4.4 guys, but are there 4.3 guys? It doesn't look like it. Cooper, but obviously there's no double game week there, and he's not guaranteed to start. Peters could be the way to go, actually. Or the Newcastle guys, but not too interested because single game week. Wait, do they have a double game week? Oh, they do now. That's right. Arsenal, Aston Villa. Wow, I'm completely forgetting about that. That makes Callum Wilson more of an option as well, but I don't necessarily trust them to score goals. So this would probably be Yedlin, but I could always go Peters. West Ham, Liverpool, not great fixtures here, but what I really need to play him, like, I'm pretty confident that over these next couple of fixtures, I don't need someone with good fixtures defensively because I can Stones and Cancelo play every week. And then over the next bit, if I really wanted to, I play Cancelo every week alongside them in the 3-4-3, and then I play Holding as well one of these weeks. What's Peters' game week 21 matchup? I think I do need a decent 21. They play Chelsea. So these two in game week 21, let's see. Because West Ham plays Liverpool and Arsenal play Manchester United in game week 21. So I'm looking for a defender that's pretty cheap and also has a good game week 21 matchup and has a double game week. That's pretty specific. So I'll probably have to go more expensive in order to accommodate that. And I'll probably just not get Vardy. But, it's probably not the best transfer to make anyway because Martial has a double. And I want to just get rid of players that have singles and go to doubles. I think that's the best way to do. Alan. I like that you put cover in the little, annotation marks because, the idea of covering, I get the general idea, but it's really just about the fact that Cancelo is a great option. If anything, it covers a Man City, 7-0 performance. It doesn't really cover De Bruyne because he could get, a hat trick pretty easily. I don't think Martial will start against Liverpool. Same problem I am also having Martial. Let's look at Martial. So let me see if I can find the news on Twitter of the exact quote from Ole Gunnar Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I read it earlier. I just can't remember what he said. I think he said that he said Martial's not ruled out, is what he said. It sounds to me like something that's where he's at least going to play. But starting against Liverpool, is that really ideal anyway? Like, I don't really know. If he was benched against Liverpool and played against Fulham, is that really that bad? I mean, not really. Benched against Liverpool, if anything, would kind of guarantee he plays against Fulham, but I guess we just don't really know. Let's see. Somebody just posted Martial doubt earlier. Oh, never mind. That's with regards to this. Let's search Fantasy Football Scout so I can get the quote. Yeah, so he's going to give everyone a chance. Martial is not out of it. Only ones that are certainly out are Williams and Jones. Others may be doubts, but fingers crossed. He said he will give everyone tomorrow to prove their fitness. There are a couple of knocks. We got a Burnley that he's not sure about. So everybody has a chance tomorrow to prove they're fit for the Sunday game against Liverpool. I think if Martial is able to play, he's probably going to start in that game. They're going to really want to win that game. And I think Gunnar at least thinks that Martial is in their best lineup. Then they also play Fulham. I think Martial probably gets at least a decent amount of playing time. And considering the good chances he had and like the good, expected goals he's had recently, I'm not too keen to get rid of him. I just really don't want to. I think Bailly will start. I think it's likely he does, yeah. I mean, that's a very possible lineup, Harvey. That's for sure. That's possible, but, Cavani also has been rotated a lot, so even if they go without the both of Cavani and Martial, it's very possible that they just don't put Cavani out there. I don't think Cavani looked great last game. I mean, obviously Martial missed big chances as well, but Cavani just seemed frustrated the whole game. So I have 5.7 here to get rid of Tierney with. Maybe getting rid of Martial would be safe, though. He's got the double game week, though, so maybe not. I don't know. Let me just reread that quote. Let me try to get a feel of the idea. What was it? What did he say? He's not out. That's what it is. He's not out of it. I think he's good, man. I think I'm going to take another week of a chance with Martial, and then after that, I'll consider getting rid of him. But then he has too good of fixtures to sell. But at some point, Martial to Bamford will be the move to give me some money. And then at that point, maybe I'll be able to easily bring Salah in. So Tierney out, which kind of sucks, but Tierney out. I was expecting Tierney to be a pretty good option for me. I may just go to Reece James and just hope he plays both. Fulham, Leicester. It's not ideal, and Reece James is creativity hasn't been amazing before he got hurt. And I'd prefer to bring someone in that isn't hurt or has been hurt recently. I'd prefer to just avoid that, but it may not be that easy. I just don't like any of these options, really, besides from teams I already have triple ups of. So in that case, maybe I do just go all the way down to Lowton or Peters or whoever, somebody super, super cheap. Let me look at the Newcastle guys, just because. So let's go to Newcastle. They have a double game week, and that's step one of being important to bring in this week, and the most important step. So there's Clark. Yedlin isn't necessarily nailed. been subbed off last 2 games. Lascelles, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't feel like any of them are that trustworthy, really. Clark is up there in terms of trustworthy. 4.5. Arsenal, Villa, Leeds. I could play him in game week 21 if I really wanted to against Everton. But it's 2 matchups. For threat, he's ranked 55th. That's not amazing. Yedlin. How well have Newcastle been defending recently? Let's check it out. So, past month, expect goals against Newcastle. Newcastle are pretty bad. 3rd worst, actually. So, and I think Arsenal and Villa score against them. So I don't necessarily think it's great. Other option would be for Burnley. And Burnley, well, we know the situation with them. They give up a lot of expected goals, but they simply just don't concede that often. And I could go Lowton here, who's pretty much nailed on for 4.4 and a double game week. Not a good one, but it's a double game week. And then bad fixtures after that. I guess in game week 21, I'll just have to suck it up and play like a kind of poor defender. With a poor matchup anyway. Who knows? That's gonna suck. So I don't know. Maybe I just can't quite fit it in. If I go Chelsea, would that help for game week 21 for a 3rd defender? Yeah, they play Burnley. So I think Reece James makes the most sense here. The safer option is Thiago Silva. He costs more with less attacking threat. So I'm trying to avoid Thiago Silva. I'm trying to avoid him, but I guess I'm also potentially getting more positional safety there in terms of rotation. Let's see if we can get any Reece James news over on Twitter. And let's also check out Chelsea's recent defending statistics. Oh, yeah, that's right. They're like middle of the road. So it's not terrible. They're a little bit behind middle of the road, though. Man. Tierney to James. And then, I still couldn't do Martial to really anybody. And I don't really have to make a transfer this week, by the way. I wouldn't have to. I mean, if I was forced to go in with the team I currently have, I'd be perfectly fine with it. It's not a bad team at all. Even considering the fact that I'm bench boosting, I'm still happy with it. Yeah, and the limited amount of strikers really does hurt. I agree, Thomas. I think there's a limited amount of good cheap strikers in general, like besides just double game week. But yeah, double game week makes it worse. I mean, because this team really isn't bad. So I think Tierney to a double game week player, be safe, also get a double game week out of that. I think Newcastle probably won't score. I wouldn't say probably. There's probably a 50-50 chance they score against Arsenal. I already have holding, so at least I'll get something out of that. But that doesn't mean I should get rid of Tierney. Again, I'll have to wait. If they confirm Tierney's gonna start, then maybe I make another move somewhere else. But even then, I'd still get the double game week out of it. It's just the fact that my good option, Kane, obviously he costs a lot, but there's some decent ways I could go with that. And Rashford, I don't think he's a great option, but he's got the double game week with good fixtures coming up. But there's good replacements for him. Like if I could just go up a little bit to Salah. I mean, I guess it's not a little bit, but there's also Son and Grealish. Grealish. I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna keep my midfield this week. I think that's for sure. I'm not gonna make a midfield transfer. I think Salah just has to wait a week. So Tierney, I mean, maybe I just take the chance with Yedlin, or James. Man, I would hate to see Reece James not on that starting lineup, though. When do they play? Tomorrow. Okay. Against Fulham tomorrow. maybe he isn't risk, like, I don't know. There's so many different ideas. But Fulham have, like, done well against big teams recently. I think Lampard would see that risk coming. So if I do him to James this week, that allows me to... So I want to do Rashford to Salah at some point, just because Salah is so good, not necessarily because of fixtures or anything like that. So we get Salah in... Maybe I skip a week. Maybe game week 21. So I can use an extra transfer. And then next week, I mean, again, Martial to Bamford isn't quite enough. So, I mean, maybe this is just a long process where I go Tierney to James, and then somewhere to get 0.2. Wow. I don't know where I would even want to get this 0.2 from. The way to go is, okay, I still need a bench player, really. So it would probably just be Souček down to a 4.5. And that's a lame transfer to make. It's a really lame transfer to make, actually. But so then if I got Souček down to a 4.5, then I could do that. So this may be the case where I take a -4 at some point. I think a -4 has to be coming up at some point, because just the way I set up my team, like a lot for the blank and double game week, I think it would make sense to take a -4 soon to get this team a little bit back on track. And then let's see who I would just bring in. Reed, Smith Rowe for the third Arsenal plays. I think Smith Rowe would be the way to go. And that's, so I could do James this week. I could almost wait a week. I could almost get 2 free transfers saved up and then make the other 3 at once. Because like I'm not too interested in transferring in Salah ahead of Tottenham away. So I think I could just keep Martial and Rashford for, let's see, that would be game week 20. And then I sell all the Manchester United, not all, but I sell Rashford. Yeah, maybe I just make 3 transfers right ahead of game week 21. I get Liverpool going against West Ham, then Brighton. Then it gets tough, but again, it's Salah. I'm not too worried about the fixtures there. And then I get Smith Rowe just to make some money, but that's also bringing him in for some decent fixtures upcoming, I guess. Like, it's whatever. If I had to play him, don't really care. But I also get Bamford in, and that would be Bamford in for Leicester, which isn't great. So I wish this was better matchups, but after that, Everton Crystal Palace looks good. And it's still just Bamford and then somebody I want. I feel like the main reason would be to get Salah in. And that's Rashford and Martial out right ahead of Arsenal, and then Southampton, Everton. I mean, these fixtures are still not that bad. So if Manchester United look good, it changes everything. Like if they start to do well, if they do well against Fulham, because that's an easy matchup, and then game week 20, I'll probably keep them. And against Sheffield United, if they look good, then all of a sudden I've got a real decision to make. But I think that could be the plan at some point for the team to end up like this, and I'd end up if I'm able to hold that transfer, it would be a -4. -4, and what is that, game week 21? Yeah, a -4 for game week 21. So I'd hold the transfer, and game week 20 I'd be playing. I could almost play a 4-4-2, right? Yeah, I could play Holding and James and Soufal, really. If I had to, I could play 5 defenders. I wouldn't do that, though. Saka would play Rashford. I could even like bench Martial if I had to game week 20. Not that I would do that in that good of a matchup. But if he doesn't play or something, like I have good enough subs. Like before I switch back until like not bench boost mode where I have this one cheap sub, I could afford to like have some rotation risks, I suppose. So Reece James, like obviously this week, him being a rotation risk would hurt me. But the weeks after this, where they still have some congested fixtures here, I think, Soufal, if he comes in for game week 20, they play Crystal Palace, and I'm okay with that. So I think that would be the way to go. And I think that's probably the simplest outcome right now. I get Salah back in my team soon enough. I miss him for the double game week where he's a captain option and a triple captaincy option for those with that sort of plan going. I get him. I skip past the Tottenham game. I get him in for his next 2 good fixtures, and then after that, I probably keep him for the rest of the season. What's his price doing right now? I assume his price is probably gonna rise. So regardless, me doing this 0.5 in the bank, so I'm good. I probably won't be priced out, and I get Bamford in. I think those transfer moves are solid. Oh yeah, I forgot about Burke. So then instead of Smith Rowe, it would be Burke, of course. Obviously. So the thing about Burke is he plays for Sheffield United, and they're the best team in the league. So you really want to get a lot of Sheffield United players, and that would be my one way to actually get Burke in. So that would probably be the way to go instead of Smith Rowe. Let's take a look at Bamford and Salah. Bamford's price is going to go up soon, within the next game week or so. Salah is actually, his price will probably go up, once in the next couple of game weeks. So I'll lose some value in that. Then we got Martial. People are selling Martial. It's interesting. I mean, I guess I shouldn't expect anything different. And people are just buying up Rashford after his amazing performance where he had 0 expected goals, 0.03 expected assists. People are like, let me get him in. He crossed the ball one time to Paul Pogba, who finished the outside the box volley. Rashford, amazing option here. Just so brilliant. He does have decent fixtures, obviously, but we're still talking about Rashford. Costs the same amount as Son. I mean, come on. But I have him in my team, so I shouldn't be trashing him. What time is it? I'm not sleepy. I don't know what those yawns were. I think I napped recently about this time, so my body is like, oh, it's nap time. Ben, I think that's a solid enough bench boost. Yeah, for sure. If you have a decent chance to use the bench boost, I would just use it, especially with that 1 double game week and 3 people are going to start. Yeah, for sure. I think that's a bench boost. Go ahead and get it out of the way. That way you don't have to worry about building a solid bench some point in the future. It's great, yeah. People expect too much from their bench boost, I think, a lot of times. You just want 4 solid players, 90 minutes, that kind of thing. And hopefully you get 1 or 2 returns. If you have 5 games on your bench, so 1 double game week, you're guaranteed at least 10 points. Well, not guaranteed, but if they all get 2 points, you get the point. And, I think a lot of people would agree that 15 points from a bench boost is fine. So, if you just get 1 return in there, 1 person scores, all of a sudden, that's a fine bench boost. And you got it out of the way and you gain 15 points. And then you move on. Should I bench boost? I have Martinez, Bamford, Dallas, and Tierney. Oh, yeah, of course. I think that's a definite bench boost too, Kobe. I think this is a great week for bench boosting in general, if you have the team sort of set up for it. But yeah, Kobe, I think that's a great bench boost. Tierney is a risk, though, so I will say that. But I think even with that said, you have the double game week there with Martinez. Very tiny chance of a Leeds double game week. I wouldn't count on it at all. I don't know if I would do Tierney out just for the bench boost reason, but I don't have any plans really to bring in Son, Thomas. Just because, like I said with Kane, I have my doubts about him as well. Just because, they play Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City in the next 7. So they're sort of it's just not ideal. But the thing is, because of this Salah plan right here, there's really no room for Son. And the only way that would change is if, I guess, with De Bruyne with these fixtures, I don't see me getting rid of him, right? As much as early on in the season, I was De Bruyne, maybe not the best option. With those fixtures, even if he looks poor, I don't know if I would sell him. Bruno, again, I don't think I'll ever sell Bruno. So I don't see Son coming in anytime soon. Considering I already used my wild card, it just sort of further solidifies that. Son's been great for me this season, though. I was happy to own him when I did. The first time I sold him was a big mistake. He's just a great player, but doesn't quite fit in partly because Man City have such good fixtures. I got this money in Cancelo and De Bruyne. But when De Bruyne's fixtures change, Liverpool, Tottenham are maybe, game week 23. Let's see what we got going on with Spurs. Game week 23, West Brom, Man City. I mean, that's better. So maybe game week 23, De Bruyne to Son could be the way to go. And that's a long time in the future, so who knows how things look by then. And that would give me a lot of money too. And if somehow I don't have Salah in by that point, that would give me some more money for Salah. But I think this is the general way that I will work it. But for now, I think Salah's got to stay out. Obviously, Bamford stays out. And Smith Rowe stays out as well. So I think for now, I'll probably do this on the deadline stream tomorrow. But I think Reece James in is just the simplest way to go. And there's still some risk there. But he's got 2 games. So hopefully something decent happens. And again, I'll just have to look into it more. If Reece James, for whatever reason I lose trust in him, I could always go with Thiago Silva. Actually, that probably would price me out of the Salah plan. So I'd have to go cheaper. Because of potential price rises in the future, I'd have to go cheaper than Reece James. And in that case, well, there's Justin. 90 minutes, right? 90 minutes, 2 game weeks. Who else? It would be Target. It would be either way. I'd be taking a risk, I think, a little bit. But I think I'd go for Target. He's cheaper. Similar attacking threat, I would say, actually. And some great fixtures as well. And got the games in hand. So maybe I do go Target. But we don't know what the situation is. Does anybody know who has COVID on Villa and what the case is? Have they had a full scan on a full COVID check where nobody has COVID or something like that? That would be nice. You know what? Let me just do what I always do and just type in Target FPL. I'm going to get just people asking about Target. But, it is what it is. Matt Target FPL. Oh, so Target has 4 yellow cards. Okay. I should probably pay attention to that as well. So I think that kind of puts me off of him. Let's take a look at Reece James because I think he gets some yellow cards every now and then. He's on 3. I'll take that. That's fine. Let me go back to this post, actually. So, players that have 4 yellow cards: Grealish, McGinn, Westwood, Decordova-Reid, Fuchs, Nicholas Mendy, Tielemans, Bruno, Maguire, and Shaw. And that's most of those aren't that significant, really. But Target is, and I'm glad I caught that. Hey, Penguin, how's it going? You triple catted Salah this week. I quite like it. I think it was game week 16 last time around when I actually remember because I commented on your post and then I felt bad for you, and that's why I remember that FPL Penguin captained Mane in that double game week, triple captain Mane, because I remember I commented I'd captained a Salah gif under it because I went with Salah. But yeah, the Liverpool guys, Salah especially, with 2 home fixtures, that's great. And if I wasn't bench boosting, I would consider it myself if I had Salah. Triple captain Salah sounds great for me. But yeah, I did it last year in a very similar situation. Son was very unlucky. And Rashford, yes, again, Adam, I couldn't agree more. He needs some finishing lessons from anybody. Kane, Bruno, Calvert-Lewin. If he time traveled back to the beginning of the season, would be great. The best 4.5 to 5 million goalie for a bench boost. So we also have to look at potential long-term usage, right? Because it's not in a free hit. And yeah, so I think Areola and Martinez are fine. The most important thing is just double game week. So you have Johnston and Areola, I would say. Obviously, I brought both of them in. So if we look at Johnston, he's got better fixtures. I don't expect much from Areola this week, but with Areola, you also get 2 games in hand in the future. So if we go to his fixtures, we see that he's got Burnley and Tottenham to play at some point in the future. Really, it's only 1 game in hand because they have this blank here in game week 33. But that could fit your strategy or it could not. So for me, with Johnston, he's listed to play game week 33 already. So assuming that stays, I haven't looked too. I'm not even gonna lie. I have no idea how likely all the future like double game week 26 and all those things. I don't know anything about them. I'm gonna wait because all I've looked is like I've checked Ben Creelan and I'm like, okay, so nothing, like we're still at like, oh, there's a 50% chance of this, 50% chance of that. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just wait until things are pretty close to being finalized and then I'll start making my plan. But I'll probably start looking at that soon. Obviously, we're going to get past this double game week, and then that'll be the time to start looking, sort of keeping in mind the next one. But yeah, I think I would lean towards Areola. Not for this week. Unfortunately, it's bad matchups this week, but 2 games in hand. But Johnson has decent fixtures, but it's West Brom and Fulham. Does it really matter their fixture? Does it really matter? Wolves and West Ham is not great anyway. I looked at it like this, I ended up getting both of them, but I was like, you know what? Well, I put Ariel on the bench. I try to get the most realistic bench boost possible, like who I would actually bench, and I put Ariel on the bench, but I couldn't decide because I'm like, either way, I see Wolves scoring, I see West Ham scoring against West Brom, and I see obviously these 2 teams scoring against Fulham, so I'm like, oh, well, there's going to be no clean sheets here, but so then I just put the one with the worst fixtures on the bottom regardless. But it's also Fulham. So maybe they do well, but 2 fixtures, man. 2 fixtures is important. Should I keep Cavani? Oh, for the double game week, I think if I had him, I may just keep him just because there aren't that many good options. But after, I'll just blanket and say I would look to get rid of him as soon as possible. If you can get a good player in now, I may go ahead and do that. But I just don't like Cavani really at all as an FPL option just because he's not that trustworthy in terms of playing time. And we also just haven't seen a lot of him, so we don't really know. You're going to triple captain KDB? Yeah, fair enough. I mean, great fixtures, right? I think I'm going to stick with him here and captain him. Not going to buy into he may be rested hype. Because it could happen, but 2 good fixtures for me. My first time captaining him in a while. If you do Dallas Stones, I would probably just have to bench one of Sam Grealish. Yeah, that is tough. I think you have to bench Bamford, though, unfortunately, because you get the 2 double game weeks there. It's between Bamford or Justin, really. But Grealish also plays Man City. So if you just write that one off, I don't really know. I think I would go Justin or Bamford, though, because I think Son and Grealish, you almost never bench them. You just can't. They're just too good. One good thing is, if I am late with planning on my future, game weeks, blank game weeks and double game weeks, I have my free hit still, so I can always just use that to bail me out. In 1 week, at least. But yeah, I think for me, the most likely move is Tierney to Reece James, and I'm not super happy about that, just because for some reason I'm still worried about his rotation. But maybe that's unreasonable, so we'll see. So let me look everything up about Mr. James. I probably shouldn't just search James FPL. It's too common of a name. James. Let's go. Because I'm sure they mentioned it at some point, right? Maybe not. I'll have to rewatch the team news video and all that good stuff, because I'm simply not too sure. I'm just looking for something that's kind of reliable. I think he's likely to start to be in it. A lot of people are asking the same question I am. So let me see what some people answered. I mean, Lampard said that Chelsea are fully fit. Oh, yeah, that's right. So what happened was He wasn't asked specifically about Reece James, but he said that everybody's fit, and obviously everybody includes Reece James. Obviously Conte will be out. Hurts their defense a little bit. I think that's going to be the move for me. Tierney, Reece James, and then just hope for the best with some of my potential rotation risk with, you could throw Holding in there, you could throw Antonio in there, and you could throw, any Man City player in there, and you could throw Martial in there. Much more than I'm used to, but geez. I think they're decent. No Salah. I just don't think it's going to happen. Be interesting watching the Liverpool games without Salah. I probably won't even watch the second one. I won't want to. Who do they play in their second game? Burnley? Oh, no. It's not going to be good for me. Final game is Aston Villa Newcastle. That won't be good for me either because I don't own anybody in that. Do I? No, I don't. Captaining De Bruyne, I think it makes the most sense. Crystal Palace and Aston Villa over the past month. Crystal Palace have defended pretty poorly, fourth worst. And Aston Villa, they've defended pretty well, actually. Fifth best. So, overall, mid-table fixtures for De Bruyne. Aston Villa defending well. I don't know if they'll be able to keep that up against Man City. We'll see, especially with their whole COVID situation. That'll only be their second game back, so I'm not exactly sure. But they will have one game before that. That's another thing, that'll be their first game. Okay, Villa's first game back, they have to get destroyed by Man City. We'll see what happens. Maybe they're well rested. Maybe they're missing some players due to COVID. We just don't know. Or maybe the game gets called off. And then all De Bruyne captainers cry, including me. I guess I could always captain. That's the thing. I'm always like, I could always captain no other options, besides other Man City players. Or maybe Rashford or Antonio that I don't trust. So, yeah, I'm going to leave the stream there. I will probably make a transfer. It may end up being on deadline stream, maybe before. And just bringing Reece James in for Tierney looks like the way to go here. The question is, who should I bench? Trying to keep the most realistic bench boost possible. Would I bench Kane or bench Reece James? I think I just put the double game week guy in there. I think that makes the most sense. And I'll have pretty much a single game week bench besides Areola. But I'll be happy with that. Yeah, fair enough. So, final questions. Take care, Harveen. Billy Gilmore Conte any day. Blues, I'm going to have to say no to that, actually. I will see you in the deadline stream. When is the deadline, actually? Oh, I got to wake up at 5 in the morning to start the stream. All right, well, I'll see you in about 12 hours then. And have a good game week. Let's put... it hasn't happened recently. I was going to say let's put $2 on the fact that somebody comes in at the last second, after the deadline's pass, and asks for, what should I do? But hasn't happened recently, which is sad. It's always funny. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. And just remember, Burke is better than De Bruyne.